Good morning. I am so excited. It is our block launch day. So we're going to be using our blocks today and our WundaCore, and we might even work in the loop. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin in a plank. If you have your blocks, you're going to take them shoulder width distance with your hands curved over the front side. Step 1 foot back at a time into your best plank. And we're just going to hold and breathe and get ourselves connected through our center and inside of your own skin. So the benefit of the blocks here is that we're not putting as much pressure on just the heel of our hand. We are sharing that effort through the entire palm and helping us connect to our middle back and our shoulders and take that discomfort or crankiness out of our wrists. You can stay here, or I'm going to offer the option to do a little bit of a rolling plank where you're going to swivel and come onto your right hand. So now my feet are on the sides of their feet. My left hand is up. And then you're going to bring it back through the center to a plank. And then we're going to tip the feet the other way and roll the spine, lengthen, and lift. So it's entirely up to you if that feels like a good option inside of your own skin today. You can always have your elbows down instead if your wrists are feeling cranky and you don't have blocks beneath you yet. You can also always just go into a little bit of a pelvis swivel like this, keeping both hands down. And you can just rock the pelvis, the legs and the heels side to side. So either way works. We're going to go one more with the right arm down or the right hip swiveling. And then bring it back to your plank. And then we're going to go one more time with the left hip swiveling, right arm comes up. And bring it back through center, 5, holding, 4, 3, 2, and we're going to bring both knees down. Gorgeous. All right. You're going to take your WundaCore with you, and if you have a block, we're going to place it under your left foot. So we're going to set up like a normal lunge on the mat, but you're going to challenge that balance. If you have it with you, WundaCore is wide in my hands, and I have the arch really balanced right over the center of the block. And then we're going to exhale as we crease at the left hip, and the right knee bends, right knee stretches down towards the mat. I'm trying to stretch the WundaCore wide. And then we're going to inhale as we lengthen both legs back to start. Exhale as we stretch the WundaCore wide. Even if you don't have the block under your left arch, can you imagine the arch of your foot like a starfish, like it's suctioning on the mat? It's a major balance challenge. I'm super wobbly over here. You can also choose to peel your heel up off the mat a little bit if that's a good option in your own skin and you don't have the block under you yet. I know they're new. Exhale as we lower down. Inhale, pick it up, actively broadening your collarbones, broadening your elbows, broadening your middle back. We're going to hold the next one low, hold and breathe. And then we're going to move from the top of that left thigh bone down and up just a little bit. And now I'm sending energy in on the WundaCore. So now I'm kind of trying to accordion it in. So I'm not smashing hard, but I'm using it as feedback to find my middle and to keep my middle back engaged and my collarbones wide. Here we go for 4. Small range of movement, maybe half an inch up, 1/4 of an inch down. You know the deal. We always want to move in a slightly different range of movement so we're not mindlessly bouncing through it. And then we're going to hold low in your lunge. Glue your eyes to something ahead of you to assist you with your balance. WundaCore comes up and overhead. Elbows are bent wide. 5, keeping your ribs on top of pelvis. 4, 3, 2, and then we are going to gather and bring it all the way up. All right. Keeping your WundaCore with you, you're going to take your right forearm down onto the mat and at a diagonal. So my hand is kind of towards the top corner of the mat. I'm going to take my WundaCore the wide way, and I'm putting my hand on that downward curve, okay? Once that's true, find length on your waistline. Walk your knees back so that you have a long waistline. You're not crowded up like a little ball. And then we're going to lengthen the left leg back and rotate the pelvis towards the WundaCore. All right, so I'm in an open diagonal position with my body. I'm not stacked right on top. It's like a diagonal. From here, we are going to exhale as you crease at the hip and flex your left foot. The knee draws in a lot. And then inhale, yawn, open the ankle, reach the inner thigh longer than the sole of your foot. Exhale, flex the foot, crease at the hip, drop the thigh bone in. Inhale, lengthen, reach, and open. We want to make sure, guys, that we are not loading and overloading into the shoulder or into the elbow. So I've got a lot of work happening through the left shoulder as well. That's lighting up my core and helping not to kind of collapse into the supporting arm below us. You can also think about sending more energy to the wrist and the hand rather than just right on the end of the elbow. It's important to keep your knee in line with your foot. As we exhale and drag it in, it's tempting to tip it down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring it in. Hold. We're now going to go into a tiny range of movement. So I have my foot flexed, my knee bent a lot. You can glance and make sure that they are in alignment, your foot and your knee. And then we're just going to go through this small range of movement here. So I'm taking it forward and back, but the knee and the foot are still creased. The hip is creased. And see if you can ask for more from your right inner thigh rather than just the right outer hip holding you for 3. We're going to change it up in 2. We're going to lengthen the leg all the way out. Rotate the pelvis and the ribs down towards the mat. And then rotate it back out. So we're holding the left leg out, and now we're actioning by the right half of your pelvis swiveling over the top of your right thigh bone. Exhale as we rotate. Inhale as we open. Here we go for 3. Thinking about that right inner thigh lifting up. It's so tempting to spill out onto the right side. Reach the left leg even longer. Hold it in your rotation towards the mat. And then I'm going to give us a challenge to bring the WundaCore in between our hands. Pinky line is down on the mat. So now I'm totally square with the mat. My WundaCore is in between hands. Elbows are down. And then we're going to exhale, lower the leg, toes tap the ground. Inhale, leg reaches. Notice, guys, that the low back is not changing. This is not about a high kick. This is about a nice reach. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it down from the top of that left thigh bone. Stretch the inner thigh longer than the sole of the foot. Pretend you are moving through molasses. So we're not just doing fast kicks. Move through molasses. Make sure that your hips are parallel. Your right inner thigh is active. Your middle back is broad. Hold the left leg about halfway. Shallow upper abdominal curl. That's an exhale. Inhale, come back to neutral spine. Pelvis and leg did not change. Exhale, gentle gaze down, round your upper back. Keep your chin off your chest. And then inhale, come back. 2 more like this. Exhale, gaze turns down, upper back rounds. You've got that little curve in your WundaCore to give you space for your head. 1 more time. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen, return to start. Hold and breathe, stretch the left leg longer. Navel up and in 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring the leg down. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna use our WundaCore going into a postural sequence. You have the option of taking a WundaCore block, again, under your left foot. To get that set up, you can do that. It's going to give you a little deeper hip crease, a little more action through hip mobility. Right knee is down. And then we're going to find our WundaCore behind our back. I'm stretching it open again and lengthening the arms super long. So this should be reminiscent of a chest expansion on a reformer. As we draw the arms back and inhale and exhale, bring it down. Lots of energy through the sole of the left foot. Inhale, arms glide back. Exhale, bring it down. If you have dumbbells handy and you would prefer to either swap out for dumbbells, or if you want to hold dumbbells with the WundaCore between you, you can get your hands around all of those little parts. You can try that. Inhale, glide back. Exhale, bring it down. It's okay that the shoulder blades are gathering towards one another, but try not to intentionally narrow them in or pinch them in. Ask your left hip to melt down to the floor a little bit more. You'll feel your left thigh bone sink in. Continue to stretch the WundaCore, opening up space on the front side of shoulders. Here we go for 3. Right inner thigh is still super active. Last 2. Hold the arms longer than they've been the whole time. Get them longer. Beautiful. Yes, head is right on top of spine. And we're just going to imagine hovering the left shin off of the mat. You don't have to do it. You're going to feel a lot of connection if you just imagine it. Imagine the left shin is hovered, holding and breathing. 5, 4. I think I said left shin. I mean right shin. Last 2. And bring it all the way down. All right, let's go into a bridge sequence. I'm going to put the Wunda blocks underneath my feet. If you have them, they're just an inch or 2 apart, and then you take your feet onto the blocks. If not, imagine it, or you can put the WundaCore this way under your feet. So you can put your little feet here, and that's going to help to activate your inner thighs and the arches connected to your core. All right, once you've got all of that true, arms are strong in the mat, we're going to peel the tailbone up, peel the low back, middle back, upper back, and come onto shoulders. Make sure we're not on our neck and that you have a nice diagonal line from the crown of your head through your knees. We're going to do an isometric hold up here today. So we have options. We can take one arm back at a time and then bring that arm down, switch sides. And that's going to give us kind of intermediate level of support where you have one arm supporting you. And then if you'd like to try both arms, this is a great way to mobilize shoulders where we are working with gravity rather than against it. So I know a lot of people that I work with have trouble bringing arms up alongside ears. And this is kind of a way to teach your body that you can do it. You can get them there. And it's also giving you that feedback of the shoulder blades doing the movement. Think about your knees stretching away from your pelvis. Inhale, arms go behind you or arm. Exhale, bring it up. Lengthening and reaching. Think about that crease right under your booty, right at your glam line, helping to hold you. Think about your inner thighs stretching, helping to hold you, and your arches either imprinting over your WundaCore or the blocks. And that's going to also help us not to hang just on our hamstrings. Let's bring the arms long to your sides, but hovered off the mat. With a flat back, we're going to lower slowly down, and we're going to go into little TA hover taps. So I'm going to move my arms just so you can see what's going on. You can see I'm barely hovered off the mat. There's like just maybe an inch under my seat. And then we are going to exhale. Allow yourself to rest on the mat for a brief beat. And then inhale, pick it up. Maybe your pants don't even leave the mat. And then exhale, bring it down. This should give you that saran wrap sensation from your pubic bone across your hips all the way around to your spine. That's your transverse abdominis being activated. And bring it back down. Inhale, pick it up. Tailbone stretches from crown of head. We're going to go into that single leg chest expansion. On the other side, hold the pelvis hovered. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it all the way down. Gorgeous. All right, you can roll to your side. Come on up. And we're going to take one block under your right foot if you have it. Otherwise, we're just going to imagine it and make sure we find that connection under the arch like a starfish suctioning off of the mat. All right, once we've got ourselves set up, melt that right hip down, ask for a lot from the left inner thigh, and we're going to take our hands behind us and again go into that long reach. So it's not about cranking the arms up high. That's not going to do the trick. We want to reach long and low, stretch the WundaCore wide, and then it is invited to glide back. Lots of energy down through the sole of your right foot, actively melting your right hip down towards the ground. And being on this block is helping us keep working on your end. It's helping us find additional hip flexion, mobility, and power and function through the hip by working the glutes at length, opening up space here, and then allowing us to find this deep hip crease, kind of like in a teaser or a leg raise, where we're not finding that pinch. If you still are finding a pinch in there, you can just kind of adjust, move that hip around, move your pelvis around, and look for that thigh bone dropping deeply into the dome of your pelvis. Hold the WundaCore behind you, hold it back. Arms get even longer than they have. Can you absorb the elbows up into your triceps, towards your shoulders? And then we're gonna imagine the left shin hovering off the mat. Just think about it. It should feel like a deep stretch through the front side of the quad, the front side of the hip. Lots of activation from inner thighs, lots of activation through the back side of the right hip. 5, head right on top of spine. 4, 3, 2, and go ahead and set that back down. All right, we're gonna go into our sequence on our left forearm with the WundaCore under your right hand. So it's gonna look like this. Left hand is towards the corner of the mat. Right hand is on the WundaCore. It is the wide way. And then we're gonna reach the right leg back and swivel the pelvis open. So we're now out at a diagonal and the right leg is long. Before we get started, can you ask for more from your left wrist towards your hand rather than just loading into the shoulder and the elbow below you? Can you ask for more length from your left ribs to your left hip? And then we're gonna go into the bend and stretch. We're gonna exhale as we flex that right leg and make sure it's aligned. And then inhale, yawn it open, reach and extend. Exhale, flex at the hip, the knee, and the ankle. They're all working together. Inhale as you lengthen and reach. So the WundaCore should be wobbling below your right hand, the resistance ring, because we are not collapsing into it, but I do have weight and intention down into it. And that is where there is flex in the WundaCore in that middle section. And so we want to feel that kind of depressing under our hand, but not dumping into it, not collapsing into it. Find the glam line under your right hip, behind your tush every time you extend that leg out. Again, we're moving through molasses. That's how we find that connection and that resistance inside of your own skin. You can think about moving through raw almond butter, whatever works for you. But we're moving really slowly here. We're gonna hold this next one with a good knee bend, a good hip crease, and a good ankle flexion. You can glance, make sure things are aligned properly. And then we're gonna work in that mid-range. And now maybe you wanna imagine you're moving through cement and you're initiating it from the top of your right thigh bone. So that's where the action comes from. I like to think about almost trying to send my right sole of foot through a brick wall. What would have to be true? I would have to find connection all the way through the sole of the foot, all the way through the backside of the hip. And we want to find the left inner thigh lifting up. All right, here we go. One more like this. We're going to lengthen that leg all the way out. Reach, 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 and lengthen. And then we are going to turn towards the mat. The WundaCore comes with us, and I'm going to square everything up. The WundaCore is in between my hands now. Pinkies are down touching the mat. Pelvis is square, shoulders are square. Right leg is long behind you. And then we're going to exhale, again, moving super slowly. We can touch the mat. And then inhale as you lengthen up and back. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, reach and extend. Making sure that the low back is not changing. We're not trying to mobilize the low back here. We're looking for stability and core connection. Energy inbound on the WundaCore is going to help you broaden collarbones and engage middle back, and you'll notice it pulls any collapsing ability out of the shoulders. It lifts you. It lifts you and engages and connects everything. Reaching and extending. Exhale down and go ahead and lengthen the leg back somewhere around halfway. It doesn't have to be at the max. And then we're going to exhale as we do that shallow abdominal curl. Inhale, unfurl. The pelvis, leg, low back do not react. It is the upper spine. And then we unfurl. 2 more, gang. Exhale, gaze turns down, chin stays off of chest, upper back curls. Energy still coming in on your WundaCore. Inhale, back to start. Exhale, last one. Unfurl, and go ahead and bring your right leg down. Beautiful. All right, let's take care of that lunge on the other side. If you have your block, you're going to step your right foot onto the block, and then we take a nice natural step back with your left foot. All right, once that's true, the WundaCore goes into your hands the wide way, about chest height, and we're going to exhale as we lower into that lunge, and inhale as you raise. If you are not on a block, you can do some fancy things with the WundaCore if you want to move it around rather than holding it isometrically. I'm still working on my balance on these blocks. These are new for me as well, so I'm not quite ready to move the arms around as I move the hips. But if you're on a mat and you feel good about your balance, you could always take the WundaCore overhead. You could always go into more of a bicep curl. So you've got options with what you're doing with your postural muscles, with your arms, with your core while we go through this lunge. I'm just holding mine steady today because it's wobbly up here by design. That's the whole idea. All right, guys, here we go. We're gonna hold the next one low, hold and breathe. I am now stretching my WundaCore wide. Collarbones are chasing the elbows, head is right on top of spine, and we're gonna move through a small range of movement dialed in from the top of your thigh bone. Slowly lower and slowly lift. Again, it's like different heights, different distances to keep that mindset connected to the movement in our body. Here we go for 3. Keeping your breath nice and active. Hold the next one low for you. Try to stretch your right knee from your right thigh bone, or from your right hip, 5, 4, 3, 2, and come all the way up. Fabulous. We're going to go into a little hip hinge series. Again, the block is an option to put behind your back. What it's going to do is it's forcing me to stay a little more upright than I might without it. And we're going to take the WundaCore around your calves. So the WundaCore comes the wide way at the widest part of your calves. All right, if you have a block, you are going to place it about midway down your spine, just below shoulder blades. And it's going to look something like this. If you don't have a block, you can do your elbows, and that's going to be about the same height, okay? And here we go with our hip hinge. We're going to inhale, legs go down. You choose how far. Exhale, bring it back up. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, bring it back up. If you're going all the way to the ground, cool, you can do that. I'm now going to take my elbows off and show you what it looks like without the elbow support. So now the WundaCore block is keeping my abs really active because I'm not wobbling around, but I'm also not resting on it. So it's kind of like a spacer reminding me where to stay. We're going to inhale down and exhale, bring it up. So when I took my elbows away, I actually felt less effort through the front side of the hips because I got even more core connection by reminding myself where to stay and not relying on my elbows and my shoulders and my neck. Inhale down, exhale, bring it up. Really think about the top of the thigh bones. Maybe even close your eyes and visualize those thigh bones tipping back as your knees come towards you, and the thigh bones are tipping forward as they go down. Send energy out into the WundaCore for 3. Can you come a little bit higher in that little rib lift? For 2. This is going to be the last one. Hold it in a challenging spot for you. Find lots of length through the spine. 5. Stretch the arms. 4, 3, 2. And bring it in. Good. We're going to take that WundaCore around your ankles and turn onto our sides. We're going to go into a side leg lift. You have the option of having your arm long, and that would be like our normal setup with our head on our arm. You also have the option of bringing your arm in front of you and having the block under your head. So either way works for me. This gives you a little broader base of support and still keeps your head in line with your spine. We are going to lengthen the legs up and out and bring it back. Lengthen the legs up and out and reach and bring it back. Notice that the ribs aren't dropping on the bottom side. Keep that long and lifted. Thinking about the inner thighs stretching longer than the soles of your feet. You know I love a good sideline series. Reaching and extending, keeping your hips stacked. Beautiful. Just a few more like this. Both legs are sending energy out into the WundaCore. And we're going to hold the next one barely hovered. Keep your knees in line with your hips. And we're going to flex the legs back. Flex at the knees. The knees come back, 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 back. Or the feet come back, back, back. And the knees are in line with the hips. Do you still have energy out on the WundaCore? Now we're going to do little raises from here. So we have our knees to the best of our ability at about a 90-degree bend. I can't see myself either, but try to intention towards that 90-degree bend. And now the knees are stretching, like when we were in our bridge earlier, the knees are stretching. The inner thighs are reaching longer than the knees. It's a major effort through the left hip. I know I feel it too, but send more energy into the right hip. Send energy down into the WundaCore, even though it doesn't touch the ground. Feet are flexed. Knees are stretching from hips. Hold the last one, 5. Hold and breathe, 4, 3, 2, and bring it down. Beautiful. All right, let's go into a single leg roll up before we take the other side. Move the block if you have it. And we are going to take the WundaCore resistance ring around your right foot with your right hand. Left arm goes long, right leg is long. And then we're going to inhale, pick your head up, exhale, rise all the way up into your seated position. And then we're going to lean with a flat back. And we're going to exhale as we melt down, slowly lowering down. And now you know what the ask is, guys. So to the best of your ability, rely on your core rather than leverage of the arm and the foot holding onto the WundaCore. We do this in class with our foot up against a jump board. So if it is more doable for you to bring your foot up against a wall, then that works just fine. You can also do that. You can scooch and find a wall and see if it is more doable. If you have a surface to anchor your left foot, inhale, bring it back. We're going to hold and breathe. So we're about halfway. You have a shallow curl through the low back, and then we're going to do a tiny fascial floss. So you can see that my foot is not moving in space, but the knee is bending and there's a lot of shaking. Melt the right shoulder blade down, lengthen the spine, little tiny bend, little tiny extend. Whew, here we go for 3. Head is lengthening off the top of your spine. Leg goes long, and we're going to slowly exhale as we roll and set it back down. Go ahead and bend that right leg. We're going to take the WundaCore behind our thighs. Now, this is not meant to be like jammed and pulled so that it curves. It's meant to give you this little debate between your shoulders wanting to drag it this way and your hips wanting to send it that way. So it should feel like an internal debate. And then we're going to inhale, pick your head up, exhale, curl your spine. Inhale, hold, and exhale, set it down. So find that debate. Inhale, pick it up, exhale, curl. Inhale, hold. Do you have that debate going on? Give me a thumbs up if so. All right, set it back down. If this is a good challenge for you, stay here. If you're looking for more, as we hold that rib curl, imagine the rubber bands behind your sitting bones and behind your knees. I'm shaking on the first one all the way up. Lengthen the legs all the way up. This resistance ring is helping us not to grip with our hips. And then we are going to flex and extend the legs. Ooh, that was my ankle popping. I hope that wasn't too loud on the mic. We're lengthening and creasing. You can always go back to the bent knees, flexing and extending the ankles just the same. Here we go for 2, building ankle mobility and function. Last one. Bring it back. And as we allow the inner thighs to bend the legs back down, the head sets down. All right, single leg roll up, other side. Left leg is long, right leg is long. Left hand has the WundaCore. Here we go. Right arm comes up. Inhale, head picks up. Exhale, strongly use your abdominals to come up. Try not to use momentum. I certainly did on that first one. Inhale, lean back. Exhale, tailbone melts, pelvis melts, low back melts, middle back melts, head comes down. Inhale, head picks up. Exhale, deep abdominals. Work with your inner thigh to pick you up. Take your time, it's not a rush. Inhale, lean. Exhale, as we roll down. Lengthening and reaching the whole time. Try not to water ski hang on that WundaCore. To the best of your ability, rely on your hips and your leg working with your core. We're going to hold this next one about halfway back. Hold it back. If it's aggressive on your neck, your hand can go behind your head and help support your neck. Fascial floss, little tiny bend and extend. Lots of length on the spine. Can I get even more length on your front body, guys? And can you come up a little bit higher? Come up a little bit higher. Here we go for 3. And 2, side lying on the other side, and then we stretch, gang. Last one, and go ahead and slowly bring it all the way down. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna take that WundaCore around your ankles again. Flip onto your left side. Flip onto your left side, and we're gonna have the right leg up. You have the option of your arm under your head, like your biceps under your head, or you can have your block under your head and your left arm forward. So it's up to you how you want to set that up and what tools you have handy. All right, here we go. Legs go long. We want to be stacked with our hips and our shoulders and our ribs. So it might feel wobbly, that's okay. Legs are long and we're going to lengthen and reach. Lengthen and reach. Think less about height. Think less about distance of height and more about distance of length and reach. The lower ribs don't drop. We want to keep everything stacked. You know, I love the idea of being between 2 panes of glass. It's going to help you gather and narrow and work your core eccentrically. That means with length. So work your core eccentrically, even when we're not doing the obvious core stuff. There's plenty of core work to be had here. Inner thighs are reaching and extending. Legs are parallel. And I've got lots of effort happening through the top hip for sure. But let's make sure we're still sending energy down into the WundaCore as well on the left leg so that we have both hips working really strong. Hold and breathe, reach for length. And then we're going to stretch the knees away from the hips as the feet flex and draw behind us to about a 90-degree bend to the best of your ability. Watch your low back doesn't collapse. Keep that long. Stretch the knees away from the hips, and then we're going to do raises here. So both thigh bones are tipping down bound towards the ground as we do that tiny lift. It's micro movement. It is not great big. This should feel like a major stretch across the front side of your hips. Reach your knees further towards the wall or the window beyond you if you're not feeling that stretch. It's going to be lots of effort through the right hip, lots of effort through your belly. We're not here forever, guys. We stretch in 5, 4, 3. We're going to hold this last one, reach, hold and breathe, lengthening knees, inner thighs spiraling back, 5, 4, 3, 2, and woo, bring it down. All right, gang, we made it. Let's go ahead and go into a half camel pose to open up some space through our spine, and you can use the WundaCore as a support if that is helpful to you. I have it under my right hand, down on my knees. It is the long way. Left arm comes up, and then we're going to lean back. And so I have some weight on the WundaCore, and we're opening space through the hips, through the upper back, Try to keep the low belly engaged. Pubic bone is drawn up and in. If it is accessible to you, you can go into your hand on your heel, but that's a much larger ask on your spine. So see if that's a good choice for you or not. And just hold and breathe for 3, 2, and then if you have your hand all the way down, you can sit down onto your heels, and that's a much nicer way to get out of that pose for your spine. We're going to take the WundaCore and use it to help us with an archetypal squat, kind of a stretch, kind of a little more work. You can have it this way. It gives you some feedback. Nice wide stance, rising onto your feet, in, turn out. And then we're going to take the WundaCore down. You can take it down first in a forward fold. And then we are going to crease at the hips, crease at the knees, and lower down. If you want to, you can take your WundaCore the wide way. You can also take it between your hands. You have options here of how you want it to support you. And just really send your breath from the base of your pelvis all the way up through the crown of your head. One more breath. And then you can use that WundaCore to assist you getting up and out of that squat. Forward fold and come up. Let's take the camel pose on the other side. So again, the WundaCore is there to give you support as we go into that backward bend position. Find a lot of mobility as much as possible in your upper back, rather than just immediately taking it through the low back. And then if it is accessible to you, you have the option of coming down onto your heel and reaching. Go ahead and bring your hips down. We're going to finish in a modified puppy pose. So that means we'll have the WundaCore the wide way. You can take your knees back and your elbows down. It's going to look something like this, okay? You can also bring your hips down if that is preferable for you. And I'm going to bring the WundaCore behind my head and sending energy in. It's broadening my collarbones as I open up space. Here we go for 3, 2, and when you're ready, you can bring that WundaCore down. My friends, beautiful work. I'm so glad you're here with me today, and I can't wait to hear what you think about the blocks.